Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to What He Said with Kevin Walker. Of course, I am Kevin Walker, the good looking man on the screen. See, the good looking one in the blue shirt. That other man over there that's joining us on the show this week, that's Mr. Ken Layton. Ken, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good, man. Just blessed. Happy to be around.
Good, good. So, for those of you who don't know, Ken run Gridiron Football. He's the commissioner for Gridiron Youth Football. That's a youth football league, not an organization. It is a league where organizations compete. For those of you who are not familiar with Gridiron or Ken, here in Houston, Gridiron pretty much, and this is just one man's opinion, Gridiron pretty much has been probably over the last, I would say, I'm gonna go 5 years. I'm gonna go all the way back to 2018. Has probably been one of the more dominant leagues in the state of Texas. I'm not gonna say Houston. I'm going to state of Texas. I don't care where you go. I don't care where you've played football. Some of the most dominant organizations that once they leave the city going out to compete have come from Gridiron. Ken, would you agree or disagree with that statement?
Yeah, man. We had some tough ones, man. Like I say, a lot of them that go out to do nationals and play everywhere else, they've actually done really, really well. And inside the league, if you could just survive being in the league over a period of years, you've done something. From back when we had the Houston Pride, Northwest Colts, the Jaguars, world famous with Plum and them, to when we added the Cowboys and everybody else. And man, we've had some very, very special teams.
Yeah, I can say that teams like even the Colts before they made the big merger with the Renegades, they still were a pretty impressive, dominant organization on every level.
Yeah,
World famous
yeah,
Jaguars were really nice, and as the Southside Cowboys, when we made a decision to leave Taifa, we still wanted to be in a competitive environment. So we made the decision to come into Gridiron. And I think at that point, Gridiron was at its peak.
yeah, man. I think that 2018 season when y'all came over was probably one of those real heights we had right there. Because I remember talking to you, and you was a big recruiter for the other type of teams. We wasn't gonna get the other type of teams like Sam and Fresno and Mackey with the Titans and all them without you. You don't come, they don't come. And I remember our first conversation about the schedule. You was like, "Hey, man, give me everybody who is somebody on that schedule."
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
"All right," and shit, you did your thing, man. A lot of people ask for that, and it don't turn out too good for them. But
Yeah.
you were there, yeah, you did it. And I remember y'all probably played one of those. Think of a few games offhand that were just instant classics. Your game against Mark with the Pack,
Yeah.
hey man, that was classic, man. You was in that thing. You had a chance to win it too. So that was a big game right there.
Yeah, for me, Ken, like being an athlete myself and going through the rigors of having to work your body and get to a certain point to compete, and then being one of the most highly recruited kids leaving the city of Houston a million years ago when I came out of high school, I've never ever ran from any competition. So when everybody was talking about what Gridiron brought to the table, hey man, I wanted to go see. I wanted to go see what
Yeah,
Gridiron, and I told you, and you're right. I said, hey man, load us up. And your ass
yeah.
loaded us up.
Oh
Because
yeah, man. You got all of them, man. You got
hey
all of them
man,
that year.
at
That
one point,
was,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, was that the year the 49ers came over, Kevin, too? Did you play the 49ers that year, or was it the Savages?
But no, the Savages wasn't there. Matter of
Oh,
fact,
okay.
Weedy was still with World Famous.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right. That first he was over there. He was
Yeah,
over there.
yeah. Actually, the
So
first
yeah,
2 years he was still there. The first two
yeah,
years he was
yeah,
still there. Our first
yeah.
two
Him and
years
little
over
kid.
there because we beat him that first year when we played them. Then they beat us the next year when we played them when they were world famous.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember because I want to say one of them years was Kevin's last year over there. He was right at the tail end of his little career with world famous. But yeah, man, we was loaded that year, man, with the Pack, Hackett, and all of them. Yeah,
Yes,
that was probably
yes,
one of the heights of that year right there, man. We had the Pride still there. yeah, you might have hit the nail on the head with that 2018 season. So.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Kevin's on here. He told me to say what's up to you. He said, me and Jaron, he said, me and Jaron still argue on the fact that if they would have beat us when he was a Southside Cowboy and he was playing Little League out there. I don't know who Jaron played for. Who did Jaron play for?
Jaron played for me with the North Houston. Yeah, Jaron and Justin played for me with the Ravens. I think Jaron had won one or two championships, and then the Pride came over with that varsity team that year. And man, they was dominant, man. Munn, one of the best coaches I've seen, man. He was dominant. But yeah, I had Jaron and like I say, and Justin that year. That's all I needed to win with them two.
Yeah. So for most people who don't know who Jaron is, so my son and Ken's son played high school football together at Aldine Davis. Not the sorry ass HISD Davis, but Aldine Davis. They played together at Aldine Davis, and they're Kevin speaking of some kids that was his teammates that played with Ken when Ken was a coach in the league back in the day. So
yeah, man.
So Ken, let me ask you this. So as it relates to Gridiron and being the boss man over there and running things with Gridiron, where do you guys sit as of today? Or are you done accepting teams? How many do you have, and are you done accepting teams at this point?
We're probably at about 16 or 17 teams, and I'm not done accepting them because you know how it goes. Some teams might not make numbers. Some teams will merge. Hell, we just had a big merger in the league just last week with the Braves and the Raptors. And man, I went out to their field the other day, man. Today, them people got 30 kids a level. There was kids everywhere. Now whether they could sustain it or not, we'll see. But man, they look good. But we're still accepting. But man, my little league thing with the league has just changed so much to where, we started off real small, little mom and pop, and I think world famous Northwest Colts and the Pride kind of put us on the map with big time local organizations. And right then, I wouldn't even say we were competing with YFF, man. Ed runs a good program over there, man. He was dominant then with some of the orgs he had. He had some of the best orgs in Houston himself. But that drove us to kind of compete with them for teams. And we went through that phase, even in 2018 with you. And we posted everybody on Facebook. Oh, man, we was acting a fool, just throwing it in everybody's face. Yeah. Today, man, you don't see me post nobody. I want the Gridiron to be about as quiet as can be, stay out of all of the drama. They already call us ghetto. But as far as all of the posting of teams and bragging and we the best, man, I don't do none of that, man. Actually, and me and Ed, president of YFF, have actually become really good friends. I talk to him regularly. We have little league conversations, and I run our deals by him. And advice and stuff like that. So we're really good. So we both stay out of that who's the best thing. But the reputation takes over for itself. I think we kind of was labeled that for a while because I think YFF shut down that COVID year and we blew up again with a bunch of teams with that. But man, I'm just so different right now. Like I really don't desire to do 25, 30 teams no more because I'm learning that it's just hard to make that balance. If we're at 16 this year and we had a good year, everybody followed the rules, but I bring in 10 brand new cats and it just throws everybody off because a lot of them don't want to follow the rules. A lot of them want to do their own thing and it throws off my regular teams to where I'm liable to lose them. So the goal now is if I can get a solid 16, the same teams every year, I think that controls drama in the league as far as coaches yelling and cussing out referees. Well, y'all know better. We've been here as a group, as a family for so long to where we can't let nobody come into this, which made me, and you remember I had a conversation with you a couple months ago about what can I do to change it. Financially, we made some decisions to where we still charge the $400, but we made it to where with every team, if you follow the rules that you was going to follow anyway, this is your warning right now. Follow these rules. We sent them a list of things you have to follow, these specific things. Follow that, Kevin. We paying every team at the end of the season either $900 or $1,000. You ain't got to be good. You ain't got to be Super Bowl champs. At the end of the year, follow those rules. This is what you're getting back. and we also incentivize the Super Bowl. The winner gets X amount of dollars, the runner-up gets X amount of dollars. And we figure everybody has bitched all over the years that, you know, I've been told I even made $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. We don't give back to the teams. They'll never be able to say that about us again. You know, we're going to give back. You got some teams, if they make the Super Bowl, one or two of them and win, and by the time I cash them out, they made like $3,000. I'll fund their whole banquet. So we're figuring with the money, that will lock teams in the stand here. Like, because the preseason stuff now to where everybody want to play new teams, man, you see how preseason is now. These people playing 6, 7, 8 games in the preseason. Y'all never did that. Y'all just used to scrimmage. Man, these people playing whole games in the preseason. So we're just trying to lock them into that. And we also put a stipulation in too, to where you just can't leave the gridiron and then, oh, it didn't work out, and then come back as far as and get all of the benefits that the people that decided to be a part of it is. We're going to do almost like a buy-in to where you leave if you want to, go play another year, something. You can come back, but it's going to be like a $2,000, $2,500 buy-in. We're going to make you earn wanting to be back over here. You just can't leave and you come get the fruits of everybody else's labor to help do this. So we just incentivized it. And again, you haven't seen none of that posted on Facebook. I ain't put it out there. If you want to know what we're doing, give me a call, give Maine a call, anybody. But, man, I'm trying to keep it as low-key as possible, Kev. There's just so much going on with Little League, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing, man. Consistency in any portion of life is a good thing. And the fact that you're doing things to try and get people to buy into the consistency. Now, that may be the hard part, but the one thing that drives people, period, is money when you start talking money. So, so
especially
that
in Little League.
Yeah. So that might be the thing to get people to buy into a different idea or a different approach of doing business. Because, man, some people need that help. Not saying they need the financial help. Some people need the motivation, Ken, to do the right thing.
Exactly. And now we put the spotlight on the presidents to where, like you say, Kev, some orgs, and you've been a president before, man, you're not getting the money you're supposed to get from your parents. Like, at some point, you eating that money coming out of your house, coming out of whatever fundraiser y'all doing, and that's supposed to be for something else. That money will help motivate those people to watch those coaches that be out of line. That, hey, man, you finna ruin this. Hey, man, we get this money. This is going to help us with trophies for the banquet. This is going to help make up the difference between the whole damn sophomore level didn't pay all of their registration fees or whatever. And it's definitely going to make a big difference with that. At least that's what we hope with that, you know, because, again, man, consistency, man. I sat around and thought about that. And what made me do it was, man, it was an org that left a while back. And, man, we helped. At least I felt like we helped them grow from pups to being a pretty good org. And once they got there, deuces. It was like, come on, man. I mean, we help you with registration. We help you with this. And, man, it just got frustrating, Kev. And again, it was like consistency, man. Like, if we can get that, I promise you, you'll see the drama in our league go down, all of the craziness. People are going to be more responsible for what they're doing.
So you mentioned earlier about speaking with Ed Hart and what he's doing with YFL. Is there any other league out there that you sit back sometime as a commissioner, because we all do it as presidents, as coaches, you know, football itself, even at the NFL level, it's a copycat league, it's a copycat brand. You get all these copycat offenses in college football. Is there anybody else as a league that you are a fan of how they do business as a commissioner as it relates to youth football?
Hey, man, Jackie over there with Fort Bend League, man, what they do over there is awesome. Like, it's a few leagues, and I don't really know too much about Baffle and a lot of those leagues down there. I'm sure they fit into the same boat, but I know Jackie personally. You know, whenever I have problems, Jackie is probably the first person I'm going to call. And that lady is a model of consistency. She don't care if you her brother, cousin, friend. If this is what it is, this is what it is. And again, that league has managed to stay out of the spotlight, out of a lot of drama. And she tell me they have their issues too, like regular stuff, but they managed to keep that stuff squashed. Like they don't have a lot of national stuff going on with people killing themselves to get these kids and make these teams. Man, Jackie has been so helpful with me because I'll be the first one to tell you, man, the gridiron was made on making deals with everybody. Man, if people only knew what I had to do to get teams to buy into coming over here, boy, they probably send me to jail. Like, and she's helped get me away from that kind of stuff to where, Ken, you have to be more firm. And my people even still think I'm a little too nice because I work with people mainly on getting those kids, man. I just believe at some point, Kev, if you got a 6U kid that missed registration, man, and it's for a real good reason he missed, the parents was gone or out of town, they missed the flight and come back in. We do a lot of stuff on that, and we're going to get that kid registered. I don't care what nobody say. And the league has always been behind me on that because we've worked with everybody on that had real situations. And that's why I try to build relationships with the presidents to where, man, if you tell me, Ken, this kid missed because of this, he's legit. And normally when you between the 6U and the 8U, ain't really no big deal. The 12U, I wouldn't do that because, that 12U is scary. You get the wrong kid and then he hurts somebody. But, man, we've just managed to just work with them to get these kids registered and this kind of stuff. But that Fort Bend League, man, again, some people like high structured, some people don't. But as far as consistency, from what I see on the outside, man, Jackie and them are a model of consistency. They ain't out hunting all these teams. Like she once told me, I was joking with her about Northwest Colts if they wanted to come to Fort Bend. She said, no, they wouldn't be allowed. They're too far away out of our range. We're trying to keep our parents. Yeah, Jackie literally told us that. And she said, yeah, we're trying to play right here in this little circle right here in our community. They get a lot of help from the Fort Bend school districts and the fields. Hey, man, they winning, man. Like she is winning over there, and she don't have to deal with a lot of stuff that probably me or Ed have to deal with certain teams because, man, you'll be out of Fort Bend in a heartbeat. Jackie don't care if they got 8 teams over there. We're going to play football regardless. So I got much respect for what she do over there in that league.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the structure, if nothing else, of the way Fort Bend play football. I can honestly say that's the one thing that sort of have always intrigued me about Fort Bend. And I told you about a month or so ago when we talked, I was like, man, I thought about coming back. And if I made a decision to come back and coach again, I don't want to do no Florida. Look, I tell people all the time, I feel like Dr. Dre. I started this Florida shit. Like I was the first coach in Houston to take a team in Florida to Florida in the 90s. Like I was going to Florida in the 90s. People don't realize I've been coaching Little League in Houston. I coached Little League in Houston for 31 years. And we started going to Florida in the 90s with Pop Warner. When Pop Warner was really prevalent here, we would take teams to Disney for a week. I'm talking about, man, at that point, we having to raise $30,000 for a week's stay. Like ridiculous money. Luckily, later on, AYF came along. And what AYF did, most of the administrators from Pop Warner were AYF guys. So the first thing they did, they looked at, okay, how can we minimize the cost and broaden the structure of how we help teams get to Florida? So what AYF started doing, and I don't know if they still do it, they used to give us grant money to travel.
Mm-hmm.
One year we got up to $10,000 just to help travel from AYF, directly from AYF.
Yeah, you on your own now, buddy. And raising that money, boy. And Kevin, I was totally against the whole national thing before me and Maine and went down and helped them be field monitors at the thing. Hey, man, it is an awesome experience watching those teams from all over the country. And it's a little different for me because I don't have to coach. Like you coaching it is probably way different than me just showing up and able to kind of walk around, do the little field monitor thing, which is easy. And that, but I did see by working with talking with Lou when they first went, Marco has been good at it. Like I think he kind of took over the mantle after you did as far as organization that consistently went down there. I think you kind of passed that baton to him because Marco then was going all of the time. And just talking to them, those two, hey, man, you got to get on that money fast.
Yeah.
You got to get on that money fast, man, because that is a lot of money to raise in a short time. Like, we've even had to change some stuff in the league to allow teams to get ready earlier to raise that money for that. But, man, it's definitely quite an experience, man. I would say everybody has to go once. You just did it a lot. And the only other person in our league that was doing something like that was Walter Plummer. Now, he went down there a couple of years, so he kind of like you, been there, done that, so it ain't really no big deal. But they got his old ass back out there coaching again. I mess with him all the time. He back out there coaching with RCU and stuff like that. But
okay, man,
it's a hell of an experience, man.
So, yeah, I like Walter, man. Walter one of them straight shooters.
That's crazy.
If you stand around and Walter around, he gonna step on your toes, man. But I love him for it because he blatantly honest, bro. He blatantly honest. Man, I love him for it.
You can't be sensitive around that cat.
So yeah, when we talk about the whole Florida experience and going to Florida, I think for a lot of the guys that came through the ranks with me, I'm almost certain, Ken, that's what burned a lot of us out was the fundraising side of trying to be successful with a season, because you know what the goal is going in and you want to be able to accomplish it and do it. Now, let me say this and give flowers where they're due. Man, I had some great people around me. Tanya that ran my cheer forever.
Yep.
And Tanya grind her ass off for the Southside Cowboys. If anybody should be more legendary with the Southside Cowboys, it should be Tanya, man, because not only did she grind for the boys, she would grind for her girls just as hard to get them to Florida to compete on the cheer side of the house. And I know other people were able to take teams, but the one thing I think that always set us apart as the Cowboys is that we never, ever charged one parent a dime for that week-long stay. What they gave their kid was what they gave their kid financially. Tanya can attest to this. We gave our kids 3 square meals a day, Ken. We would go to Walmart and probably shop for 3 days. Then we'll go back after them 3 and shop for 3 more. We would cook breakfast. I ain't going to say we. Let me quit lying. Tanya would orchestrate to make sure those kids had breakfast, lunch, and dinner for free.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about, I ain't talking about no Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
This lady was cooking 3-course meals, bro. So that those kids were eating 3-course meals for dinner. Yeah, some kids were saying, man, I don't eat this good at home. Kids would literally tell us that. I think the whole grind of what we did to be successful as an org, I don't think that can be duplicated, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying other people aren't feeding kids, because I don't care if you're going around the corner to the park, Lil Johnny going to show up with no money. So you're going to have to feed somebody. You're definitely going to have to feed somebody. So let me ask you this. You can still hear me, right? I know sometimes. Can you hear me, Ken?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
I can now.
So what's one of the major structural changes from an on the field perspective that you've seen in the Little League game? Like, what's changed so much? I thought he was irky jerky. I figured he was breaking up. So for years, and he'll get back in. I'll get Ken back in here, guys, in just a minute when he comes back up. But the one thing I can tell you, like the orgs who are still taking their kids to Florida, the Ducks, RCU, all those guys. I don't know if I know the Hurricanes in Pearland took a couple of levels. I'm not really sure as far as how many Northside teams. I think Gold Blooded was doing the exact same thing. Man, I take my hat off to all these coaches and contributors. We got some moms and dads that are not coaches, but they're doing just as much to make the dreams work. You know, teamwork make the dream work. So sometimes it's not all about, oh, I'm a coach or I'm a team mom, because we got people behind the scenes that's grinding just as hard as some of the volunteers, if not harder in some cases, you know, to be realistic and to be honest. And for parents like that, man, for people like that, to love your kids as much as a coach loves them and a coach puts up with them, hey, man, that's a great thing. And the one thing that's for sure about being nice to a kid, you're definitely going to get your blessings in return. And that was the thing I told people for years. And they was like, man, when you going to retire? When you going to leave? When you going? Hey, man, look, I was always afraid because I knew with what I had, God had given me a gift and a blessing. Hold on, let me get Ken back in here. God had given me a blessing to be able to teach and orchestrate the understanding of football to the mind of kids, to get them to slow down enough and comprehend it to a point of looking like a well-oiled machine on the field. I had 6U teams, and some of you guys were in the org with me. I've had 8U teams where I had kids running no huddle. But it's about slowing down and being able to teach. That's the difference between winning and losing, being able to teach a kid to an understanding of orchestrating what's in your mind and slowing down enough to get them to see it from your point of view. And that's the same thing with a teacher in the classroom. The better teachers in the classroom are forcing the kids to slow down and get it from that teacher's point of view. Get it from the understanding in which that teacher is truly delivering the understanding of what they're doing. Now, when we talk about Little League, I hear so much about coaches and parents and team moms. Hey, look, I heard them on the radio saying, what occupation has more coaches or has more people sleeping together than any other occupation out there? And somebody called in talking about, well, Little League, hey, man, look, I'm not saying it don't happen. Trust me, I'm not saying it don't happen. What I'm saying is it ain't happening at the rate and at the level of what some people try to portray the BS. Most guys coaching Little League football lose way more money because you're not getting the overtime at work, because you're worried about getting off work and being able to make it to practice. You're not getting overtime on Saturdays because sometimes you could have a 9, you could have a 10, you could have an 11 or a 12 o'clock game. So there's really no gain financially from being a Little League football coach. There's really no gain at all, period, from being a Little League football coach financially. But let me tell you where the gain is from coaching youth athletics. My personal gain is when my kids hit me up in my inbox and say, hey, Coach Kevin, man, thank you for such and such and such. Hey, Coach Kevin, I appreciate such and such and such. Hey, Coach Kevin. Or when I see them out and about and they just hug me like I'm their best friend. Say, man, that means something to me. That means something to old Coach Kevin. When I see Kendall Staten, who, happy birthday, Kendall. Today is Kendall's birthday. Kendall is a doctor. Kendall couldn't walk a straight line when his mama first brought him out to play football. I don't think he was in the pull-up like T-Man, like Torrance Stevens' little PP pull-up. But Kendall was young. Kendall was about 4 years old. and very focused at 4. You knew that kid was headed for great things. And now he's a doctor. Look him up on Facebook. Go to his own, he has his own chiropractic center. Say, man, it is a blessing. It is a blessing to be able to touch the minds and the hearts of these kids. It ain't about nobody, mama. Hey, look, you know who I want to be my quarterback? Whenever I coach Little League, I want that mama or that daddy who's committed to be there every day. So I don't make my choice off of how cute she is. I make my choice off of how regular she is. Because I don't care how fast your baby is. I don't care how far your baby can throw the ball. If he ain't here, we can't win. And people say, well, Kevin, who did you choose as your quarterback? Well, for years, I was sleeping with my quarterback's mom. If y'all just want to know, I was sleeping with my quarterback for years. The quarterback I had the longest in my organization, I was sleeping with his mom. If you got to know. I was sleeping with his mom, and not only were we sleeping together, I got her pregnant and gave her another baby. I'm giving y'all something to type and talk about. Yeah, I was sleeping with my Little League quarterback's mom, got her pregnant, and she had another baby. Well, wait, let me say this. Her oldest son is named Kevin. Her baby boy is named Landon. It was my wife. My son back there in the back. So, yeah, my son was my quarterback because I knew for years he was going to be there. It wasn't going to be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I knew Kevin was going to be at practice because he was riding with his daddy. But other than that, after he left the program, yeah, I judge who's going to be my quarterback or the potential to be a quarterback based on how committed the parent is. Then I want to know academically how he thinks, what them grades look like, what that conduct look like. Because nothing could piss me off more than a parent with a badass kid who know your baby bad. You know your baby bad, and you showing up talking about, well, coach, he got in trouble in school, so I ain't gonna let him play this week. Ma'am, you knew his ass got in trouble before you even brought him to football, period, to even play football. Now all of a sudden, he do his norm, what he's been doing every year, and get his ass in trouble. Now you don't want to let him play. He get in trouble every year. So you knew before the season started, you were going to let him play football or introduce him to the game of football. Then the minute he get his bad ass in trouble, you don't want to let him play. Well, let me tell you as a parent, if some of y'all out there are doing this, how wrong you are. When you make the agreement that your kid is going to play football, I think I got Ken back now.
All right. Finally.
There you go.
Finally. Yeah, finally. But I heard everything you were saying, though, Kevin. You just couldn't hear me.
So my point to him, Ken, is that when you make the agreement that your kid is going to play football, you can't come back and be like, well, coach, I'm going to pull him this week because he got in trouble in school. He been getting in trouble in school.
Yeah, that ain't nothing new. With that, so yeah, it's just a lot of sacrifice that go into that. Because like I said, I heard the part you said that, man, a lot of people lose out on a lot of money because you can't do a lot of overtime because of practice. You can't do nothing on Saturdays because you're normally there all day helping the organization all day long. So it's definitely a commitment by the adults and should be one by the parents.
Yeah.
With that, so, but yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. And I agree with you on the national stuff. I think the two orgs that have done it after you on a consistent basis again was, Marco and them with the Southside Ducks. They've been doing it for a minute now. And now RCU as an org. Now you got a lot of people individually doing it with one level. I think that's way different than you doing it with your entire org. Like, you know, you normally taking 2-3 teams down to nationals or whatever, man. That's way different than you just taking 25 kids or whatever. So again, I applaud, you know, the Southside Ducks and RCU for doing that. The crew and that Space City thing they were building, they've done it pretty good. But what's crazy is a lot of these orgs that get together, man, they merge. It looked like a good thing from the outside, but shit, the merge lasts 1 year. Hell, you was a part of one that we thought was genuinely a good thing. You know, it seemed like everything matched the personalities, and it just doesn't work, man. It's weird with that. And sometimes an organization never recovers from those mergers to do that. But I thought it was a couple of them that was actually pretty damn good. I was surprised they didn't work. I was really surprised y'all's didn't work. Like, that kind of threw everybody off.
Yeah, I think the biggest reason, honestly, for ours not working at the time, which it didn't, I don't think, well, I can guarantee that it didn't hurt us as an org as the Cowboys when we had to separate and go our separate ways. But I think the bigger issue that ours didn't work long term was like the parents were never on board. The parents never wanted to do it on either side. I don't think his parents wanted to come over and merge with Cowboys, and I know damn well my parents didn't want to be Titans. So, man, we kind of forced it, and we did it. And honestly, we had pushback from day one, and it just didn't work. But me and him are good. You know, me and him are absolutely good. So, you know.
Yeah, that's good. And then, like I say, you know, with I would say right now, probably the two most dominant orgs, and it's weird. I mean, it's actually perfect. You know, you got the Ducks on the south side. They still been doing their thing. RCU on the north side. And it's just weird the way they did it. It's different, very different. With Nate and Lou coming together, man, they've managed to make that thing work. Like, it works perfect for them, that merge they did. And they've only grown since then. Like, he's the first organization I've seen, Kevin, that did 6-7 pure age levels and then did 4 traditional levels. Man, they had fucking 11 teams. Like, man, that's 200 and some 300 kids. And, you know, even with the Ducks and Marco and them out there, I don't think they've ever really did the merge thing. He got a bunch of young guys that's with him that, hey, man, I give it to them cats, man. They are ride or die. He got a core of guys out there, man. They are ride or die. And I think you need that to be successful if you're going to be chasing that national dream. Like, all of them have to be all in with that. So they've managed to do it with that. But in my time now with Little League, man, I'm actually just trying to not per se make amends for anything, because I know I've had my run in with people before, and, you know, feelings got involved, emotions, and I'm not going to, and again, I never say who's right, who wrong, because we just agree to disagree and move on. You know, me and you've had an issue like that before, to where once we did decide to talk, I don't believe the conversation should be, okay, well, let's finally figure out who right. You ain't gonna never get that. That don't. Me and Bates, when we started talking again, I don't know why we was arguing. I don't want to talk about it no more, man. I ain't got no issues, and we cool. I can call him right now. We talk, whatever. You know, had a couple of issues, you know. And again, I don't want to say no issues with Marco or nothing like that, but, you know, I had got in my feelings over a few things with some things that happened. You know, me and him talked a little bit, and I'll probably talk to him again. Not on no recruiting stuff, but, man, Kevin, I just don't like being nowhere where I'm uncomfortable. Like, if I got to sit at a stadium and it's people that I don't get along with, I can't really enjoy myself if I'm always looking. So I'd rather squash it, and, man, everybody could just relax and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at now. And right now, man, Kevin, I ain't got no issues with nobody. I don't think nobody out to do me no harm. And I'm definitely not out to do them any harm on anything, man. So it just, the older you get, the stages you are, I'm not competing for teams. And Kevin, I rarely even recruit teams. I'll call every now and then some teams that I heard was interested. But to recruit like we did years ago, I chased y'all. Like, you remember, and it took me a while to get you to even think about coming over here. You was good. Man, I chased y'all in that group. And I knew I had to get you because I didn't really know Sam that much then. I got to know Sam afterwards. Didn't know nothing about Mackey either. But I knew if I got one, the one would help me get the rest. So I don't chase teams like that no more, man. If you're interested, call us. This is what we do, and we go here. And you can see people, me and Ed Hart talk about this and laugh all the time. When we see somebody go on Facebook talking about, oh, yeah, this is the YFF is back on top in the grid. Ain't nobody got time for that, man. 10 years ago, I'd have probably been on there fighting for my league. And right now, me and Ed be sitting up there talking, man, and it's just funny to us, man. I ain't got time for that, man. I wish all them leagues, nothing but the best. I laugh with him about the number of teams he got because I'm telling you, he got quite a few over there. So I tell him, good luck. You got your hands full with all them personalities. So,
yeah.
Man, I'm so good with these people, Jackie, Shane, and Mike Campbell in Fun League. Man, you know, they over the years got a bad rap for being a not so competitive league, but man, it ain't even about that no more, man. They providing a service for those kids, keeping them out the streets, whether they competitive with us or anybody else. That just depends on the day y'all decide to play, you know, because anybody could lose or that kind of stuff. But that Fun League has been around forever, not because it's trash or nothing, man. They do good stuff out there, and people like that little small community. North Harris County, man, we used to dog them back in the day, but I give it to those 5 or 6 teams, man. Them people would play, Kevin, with 5, 6 teams. They was committed to making that happen. I want that type of commitment in the gridiron now to where, hey, man, I don't care what number of teams. We rocking. This is what we doing. This is our family. And let's make it happen. So, man, my just whole outlook is just different now, man.
Yeah, you know, the thing about it, like over the course of time, what we should do with anything is evolve. And man, you know, that's the mindset of just being grown. You know, you don't want to stay stuck in the same old dilemma year after year, because now that starts to point back at you as the person more so than anything else or anybody else, when there's no growth within your structure, and your structure can't grow if you don't grow. So,
exactly.
I mean, you know, the fact that all that kind of shit is unimportant to you, I mean, that speaks volumes of who you've evolved into as a man and as a person, as a father and a husband, you know. So at the end of the day, that's what it's about. People are going to want to be a part of something where change is inevitable.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people I work in the industry in communication with AT&T, where there's always change in the way we go from copper to fiber to internet to 5G to 10G to 20G. Like, there's always change, and you have to be willing to evolve to maintain yourself.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't want to be involved in nothing. Again, if I'm the head of the snake and I'm always arguing and fussing with people on Facebook, nobody want to be a part of that. You know, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, I don't even want to see teams doing that, presidents or whatever. I don't really want to deal with you if all day, every day you on Facebook arguing and cussing somebody out or whatever, because I know at some point I'm gonna be in your line of fire.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I don't want. And again, Kevin, we both been there, all of us. I mean, I think every president has been down that road to where they've been in that line of fire, to where, man, somebody say something bad about the gridiron, I'm up in arms. Oh man, now you can say whatever you want about the gridiron. Ain't gonna make no bit of difference to me. That's your opinion. I ain't finna argue and fight with you over it, and I'm not definitely gonna be out there in no football field fighting over it. I'm gonna be 52 next week. You think I'm gonna be out there fighting? Nah.
So Ken, let me ask you this.
So,
let me ask you this from the perspective of change, since we're talking about change. We know what happened last year up in the Dallas area with the Talib gentleman being involved in a murder situation at one of the football games, allegedly. Everybody has seen the video. It's circulated 1 million times on Facebook. So what changes did the gridiron make? Because I know what they are, but kind of make the parents, excuse me, make the parents feel a little more comfortable about coming out to a gridiron football game and what they can expect from a standpoint of security.
Yeah, now what we did was, and we acted drastically, and we kind of talked with some other leagues. And again, we did it on the fly, so this year will be better. But we went immediately to like that no bag thing. Like we went to no bags for the parents. We only let the ladies bring the little wallet size, little purse things they could bring in, but no bags, no tents. When you could bring your tents, they couldn't be in the bag. You could bring your chairs, couldn't be in the bag. We started doing the wanding at the gates. Everybody had to have 2 of them up there. So we did that. We made sure everybody had real police at the games and stuff like that. So, and again, a lot of that stuff is going to financially impact you, which again leads me back to what we're doing this year. I mean, giving back something is better than nothing. It's going to help with some of them bills, but we knew we had to do something because, again, we had a situation like that at the H-Town Dolphins game some years before that. We probably should have made the change then, but after what happened in Dallas, we went to that. And now this year, we've probably even gone a step further to where literally no bags. We ain't gonna do the coin purses, none of that, because we noticed last year that became a fight because some people would bring in the longer ones, the bigger ones. Some teams was letting them do this. And now, you know what? Put your money in your pocket. If you got diaper bags, put it in a clear backpack or whatever for the kids and that kind of stuff. No more the designer bags for the players, because again, I don't trust none of these cats putting something in a child's bag to bring into a game to do something to somebody. So we've definitely gone real far as pushing the envelope on that. And we also, like I say, again, talk with Ed, Jackie, and them. We've even reached out to, like, I know the AYF head out there, Craig, reached out and talked to Clayton with YNC on what he's doing. Man, we were having really good conversations with those guys about that kind of stuff. So I think we've done a best job we can. We just hope now, a lot of that stuff don't spill over into the parking lots and all of that kind of stuff. So we try to make sure we ain't got them kind of beefs. And at least if we see it or hear about it, we try to get with presidents to address that with certain families in their organization that man, you got a problem with them too.
Well, let's talk about Ken really quick. I know I was told several times, and like last year, for example, on you got to have a police officer, not a security guard. I had Orange get mad at me because I didn't do a game last year because they didn't have a police officer, with me being an official. But I was told several times, hey, if you do that game, anything happen, it's on your back. It's on you.
Yeah. We actually talked to the referees about that stuff. And again, first year doing it. Now this year, I think we got a better grasp of what it is now with that kind of stuff with the police. Because not saying whoever the org was trying to get over, because we've had some orgs call and show us, Ken, we paid for police. I don't know where they at. Like, they literally showed us, hey man, we paid for it. And that's a different animal where they ain't really tripping. But you do have some people that try to buck the system. But man, we just can't no longer just try to force referees to go out there, because shit, y'all get it worse than anybody out there. I don't care what nobody say. The refs get it worse than anybody. Y'all gotta listen to them people calling you out your name and all kind of stuff. And we always try to teach professionalism. But like I tell everybody, man, people are human, man. I mean, at some point, everybody got a breaking point. So again, we're gonna crack down on that some more with the referees as far as the game situation. And again, some refs in some situations will start the freshman game because it's like early in the morning. Normally, there's really no drama with them just yet. So they'll start a game and go to halftime sometime and go, hey, man, need to get the security here. But I tell them that's their call. Like, if you're comfortable, situation seems okay, again, that's your call. But it's also your call to go, nah, man, it's 700 people out here, man. We ain't got no. And it really becomes I really think referees will do it for stadium games.
Yeah.
I really think they work better with you for stadium games because the people are away from you. You're just dealing with the coaches, and 9 times out of 10, the referees know the coaches. But those games where parents are right there on the field, I've seen the majority of the refs go, "Oh no, we're not even starting the freshman game, man. Your parents are on top of me, and there's nobody here to stop it." So, and I bet you your situation happened at a field where it wasn't at a stadium.
Yeah, it was at a park. It was at a little small park at that. Yeah. But here's the thing that I did. I called one of their board members early in the week on Tuesday and said, "Hey man, look, I've been already given a heads up not to start that game, not to start the day if you guys don't have police available, simply because the coaches had already had a fight the week before. So when the coaches are fighting amongst themselves, like Billy told me, Kevin, if they fighting each other, they don't give a damn about you.
Sure don't.
You know, so
they don't give a rat's ass about you. So again, man, like I said, and that's even hard to handle with that. But hey, man, we tell them, and the refs did a pretty good job with that. Now, the one thing we do have to expand on, though, is some of those fields where you rent it, they won't let you use no cops. They let you use the little officers from their school. But unfortunately, their school officers are those little, you know, A1 security or whatever. So now we're gonna have to find out. We're gonna have to find out if schools are doing that, because we ended up canceling the game last year, and that's all the school provided. So we're gonna have to discuss that earlier. And like you say, doing what you did, hey man, we got to get on that early in the week and start sending out the reminders to these teams. Hey man, you got your security paid for already, right? You know, force them to tell you something. Get that back to Billy and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, see, I know if anybody's getting an HISD facility, HISD police work every game on an HISD campus. They get that scheduled overtime. If you're an HISD police officer, they get that scheduled overtime to work the HISD facility games, you know, that are going to be attended by parents. Let me read a couple of these comments. Joaquin on Freeze. Dre Brown say Kevin was calling NFL penalties on Sixer kid. No, I was calling real penalties. You can't do false starts, Dre, on offense and think that play gonna be ran. That's a penalty. Hey, most officials have a trained eye. If you take off, that's giving that offensive player an advantage on that defensive player. Everybody is held to the same standards across the board. So Tracy says it's sad because what are you teaching the kids? No, that's right, Tracy. So this boy say I'm hiring police for my game from now on. Yeah, he should be at a stadium. No, that's cool. That's cool. So here's the thing I want to, because we got 7 minutes left in the show tonight. Here's the thing that I just kind of want to add to the whole conversation of youth sports, period. You know, parents, I'm going to say this about the shiny penny. Hold on, Ken coming back. There you go.
Yeah, boy, that weather got bad out here real fast.
Yeah. So Ken, let me add something real quick. While I was going to the parents with the shiny penny. They running for orgs because they got a name. I would tell any parent, don't just run somewhere because of a name. Place your kid somewhere where you feel like your kid is going to be comfortable being taught, and he's going to be in a situation to where he can be taught up and get on the field.
Yeah.
Because the bigger part of playing Little League is that once I leave Little League, can I play at the middle school? Once I leave middle school, are those coaches going to coach me up enough to where I can make it and play in high school? Am I going to get coached up enough in high school where I can get a scholarship somewhere? You brought up the example earlier, Ken, when you and I was talking about D1 versus D2. You know, D1 versus D2.
Yeah.
That's a thing where, hey, the coaches decide that when they recruiting your baby. Because me and Ken were talking about competition and how you got orgs out here that run from competition. Again, that's our opinion that they run from competition. We ain't got to call no names. We know who we talking about. Most people who've been around Little League forever know what orgs don't want no smoke. They pretend to want the smoke, but they don't want the smoke. The people I applaud more than anybody else because they come from a very small sector. Man, I love what Ra and those guys do from the Beaumont area because they've always come to Houston and accepted any competition that Houston has put on the table. I've never heard, me personally, I'm not going to say it didn't exist, but I've personally never heard Ra cry about who he got to play. Ra said, Kevin, hold his flag on me for a few on 4 seconds, Kyle. I did. My God. Hey, Ra, man, you know, I got to be fair to everybody. David Pringle said, preparing them for the next level. Yeah, definitely, Dave. Greg said my son wouldn't take the D2 ride. Hey, yeah. No, you're right, Dave. We did play everybody. We talked about that earlier. Bring them to Space City. Popcorn say, bring your kids to Space City. Man, he said, I paid HISD for officers before and they didn't show up. No, I believe you. Man, let me tell you why I believe you, man. When I was playing at Worthing High School, I think that was the year before my last year when I was still president before I stepped away and gave it to Dane. When I was playing at Worthing High School, we had 4 home games. I paid my money up front for the 4 home games for HISD police. We only had 1 police officer at 1 game throughout the entire season. Now, we never had no incident, but we only had 1 officer. She was cute, too. I was kind of glad she showed that day. But we only had 1 officer show up for a full 4-game schedule at Worthing. They never put us out, but no officer ever showed up either, but the one time. 1 female officer showed up. So, yeah, I mean, you just have to, you know, abide by the rules and do the things that you know you should be doing when competing, abiding by the rules. If the rules are set in stone, then they set for a reason. Just abide by the rules. Everybody know the rules of their league. People can say one thing and do another, but trust me, everybody is explaining what the rules are. Ken, you gonna be able to talk? Man, it seems like you riding through a monsoon. Ken out of here, y'all. Clutch City on the way. Believe that. Okay, Dane, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. You better not get your ass handed to you. Trying to read through these comments. Hey, guys, so look, we're going to call it quits for the night. That's the end of the show. Gotta go, gotta go. Hey, thank y'all for joining What He Said with Kevin Walker. If Ken get better reception, we'll have Ken back on. I'm going to try to get Ken back on during the middle of the season so we can talk about how the season going. We can talk about how the season going with Gridiron. And we're going to read them standings on how them Gridiron teams doing on one of them shows and kind of maybe mid-October. Damn, your ass better not be on the bottom of the pack. Took some ass whoopings last year, my boy. You got to come on back, man. Next week is in person. I'm sorry, next week, next Friday night. We still going to do the Wednesday show. Excuse me. But next Friday night, we're going to do another live show with free drinks, free. People who showed up was like, oh, you meant free for real free. Yes. It's going to be free drinks next Friday night. We're going to try to do it happy hour style. We're going to get started about 5 o'clock. Come out and consume. Hey there, Miss Penny. So Miss Penny, hopefully Miss Penny and her wonderful husband, my man Cliff too, will be out doing some comedy for us. We're going to make it a full night, y'all. We're going to have a good time next Friday night. That's June the 30th. June the 30th, 12805 Vibes Lounge. 12805 Vibes Lounge next Friday night. We will do a Wednesday night show, but then next Friday night, we're going to do 2 shows next week. Next Friday night, we'll be live at Vibes Lounge, 12805 Cullen Boulevard. 12805 Cullen Boulevard. Going to be another live show. Hey, look, if y'all out and about, seem like it's some inclement weather, y'all be safe, be careful. I can hear the rumble going on outside. Man, y'all be blessed. Thank y'all for tuning in. Have a blessed day.